everyone and welcome back to WaverlyReads. First of all, I just want to apologise about the camera. I can't seem to find the memory card for my actual camera. It's not in the slot and it's not in my laptop, and that's the two places it normally is. Now, I may have to buy a new one, but for today we are going to be using my phone. Today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up. March went very quickly and I got a lot of reading done. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books I need to talk to you about. 12 I own, 1 I do not. I also had 2 readathons in March. I had the Reading with the Season Spring, which was on March 3rd I believe, and I had the Zodiacathon, which was a week-long readathon where all of the books you had coincided with the Zodiacathon. I have vlogs for both of those readathons up on my channel. I'll link them both in the description if I can remember. If not, they're just like a few videos before this one, so you should be able to find them just fine. I'm not going to dilly-dally along with explaining everything I thought and blah blah blah. I'm going to try and get through this as quick as I possibly can because I have to film this, edit this and get out of the house before 4 o'clock. Oh, and upload it before 4 o'clock. Oh, there's a robin! Hey, and then get distracted by a bird. The weather's having all sorts of mishaps happening at the minute. We've got a hailstone, we've got wind, we've got snow, we've got rain. It's just having what it wants outside, so if you can hear the rain, my apologies. So this isn't the most satisfyingly laid out pile I have because they're in the order that I read them and they're all different sizes. I read hardbacks, I read paperbacks, I read a graphic novel. Got a lot in this pile, so we're just gonna pretend that it looks aesthetically pleasing. These are the 12 books that I own, and then obviously there is another one which I do not. So because the Reading with the Season started on the 3rd, I was like, do I read a book? Because I finished one on the 28th of February and I was like, I have 2 days before a readathon, what can I read? I decided to pick up a very short book, and that is The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner by Stephanie Meyer. Obviously a reread. This is a novella for Eclipse in the Twilight Saga about a character named Bree who is one of the newborns in Riley's army. That's what this is about, and obviously I loved this. This is probably one of my favourites in the Twilight Saga, even though it isn't actually technically in the saga. I really enjoyed this book and I think I always will. It's the one that I pick up when I really want to read a Twilight novel and get my Twilight fit. I want to like have something short because all the Twilight novels are fairly thick. And then we get into the Reading with the Seasons, and again you can go see that vlog. I'll see if I can link it in the iCard. I think it's this way. If not, then this way. I completely don't know how to do that on this new YouTube studio thing, but I will try. So it's up here or here if you want to go and see that. But yeah, we're getting into Reading with the Seasons now. The first book I read was It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. This is a book about a boy named Craig who admits himself to a suicidal help asylum in the hospital because he's getting major suicidal thoughts and he's just not in a happy place. So he admits himself into an asylum, and it's about him trying to take steps towards recovery, but it also explains that recovery doesn't just happen like that. It goes through his experience in this asylum. Obviously, needless to say, this book is very triggering. You're in the mind of someone with suicidal thoughts, so if you are triggered by just reading about suicide, then definitely stay away from this because he has some twisted thoughts, and unless you're in a really good headspace and you're okay with where you are in your life at the minute, I wouldn't recommend reading this. But if you want some more insight onto what the asylums are all about and stuff like that, then go right ahead. Oh, Bree Tanner got a 4-star. I don't know if I mentioned that. This one I did enjoy. It took me about 4 hours to read, I think. Like I said, go watch the vlog. I enjoyed it. It was probably one of my least favourites of the readathon, but I did enjoy it, and I think it got a 3.5. Got a 3.5. I have my bullet journal down here to help me out, but it's all written in yellow, so if you see me squinting, that's probably why. I'm already 6 minutes in, this is going to be so long, let's speed up. The next book I read was another reread, and that is Unspeakable by Abby Rushton. I read this in the first readathon I ever took part in, and that was the Booktubeathon 2016, I think. God, that was so long ago. Maybe it was 2017. This is a book about a girl named Megan who doesn't speak because she witnessed a very traumatic event, and ever since then she has been mute. She communicates through text, through writing notes, through hand gestures, through facial expressions. She does not speak. Then she meets this girl named Jasmine who has just started at the school, and she gets close with her, and it's all about their journey. And there's also a mystery behind, because she doesn't even tell the reader what happened, what the traumatic event was. All you know is that her best friend died and she saw it. You don't know how it happened. Uncovering that with an LGBTQ+ relationship in it. It's very cute and I like it. I like it a lot. This book got a 4-star. The next book I read was Wild by April and Pike, and this is the 3rd book in the Wings series. I'm not going to explain what this is about because obviously it's the 3rd book, and I've spoke about the Wings series quite often, and I think I talk about it a bit in the readathon, so again, go watch that, whichever way it is. So yeah, this is a very enjoyable book, apart from the fact that it's my least favourite that I've read so far, because it was very romance based, and these books are usually action based with a bit of romance on the side. This one was very romance based, and the love triangle in it was just very evident, and I just was happy with it at all. I gave it a 3.5 stars, which is still pretty good. And I'll still definitely be continuing with the series because I want to see where this goes, but this took me so long to read in the readathon and it was just dragging, and I was like, ugh. The last book I read in the readathon I don't actually own, and that is George by Alex Gino, I believe. I did that because usually I put up pictures, but that's just a lot of editing I can't be bothered to deal with. This is a middle grade contemporary novel about a little girl named George. Born a boy, wants to be a girl and wants to get the role of Charlotte in Charlotte's Web, but nobody will let her because she was born a boy. And it's all about her trying to be who she is and tell her parents and like come out and stuff like this, and she's only 10 years old and it's so adorable and everyone needs to go and read it. I rated it a 4-star out of 5. I really loved it. It was adorable. It was so cute. The original book I had in place for George was Skylarks by Karen Gregory. This was also my egg book, I think. Yeah, which George also classifies for because there's an E and 2 Gs. This was supposed to be read in the readathon, but I just was not in the mood to read something so thick at the end of the readathon, so I decided to read it afterwards because I still wanted to get around to it, otherwise I never would. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed it. It's a lesbian contemporary about a girl named Joni who is quite poor, and she is at risk of being evicted from her house because there's this dude who has brought the entire like area, the entire street, and he's trying to put the rent up, and they're already struggling to pay the rent, and she's basically trying to fight to keep her house and keep her home, and there's protests and stuff involved, and it's really good. I also met this girl who works in the library with her, who is this, I can't say that, that's a spoiler, who is rich, and she's trying to like live 2 lives. She's trying to like keep her new girlfriend romantic interest away from her poor side to her life, and doesn't really want to mix the two because she feels like her girlfriend / love interest person is going to judge her. It is so freaking cute. I loved it and I gave it a 4-star. Again, I've had a really good reading month in case you can't tell. Next up is All Rights Reserved by Gregory Scott Katsoulis. I completely forgot I read this until I saw it in my wrap up and I was like, oh yeah, but I did really enjoy it. So this is set in a dystopian futuristic world where every single word you say is copyrighted. Main character Speth decides that when she turns, is it 15? I think it might be 15, it might be, yes, the moment she turns 15. Up until 15, you have freedom of speech, you can speak whatever you like, you can say whatever words you like, and you don't get charged. But when you turn 15, you get a bracelet and you have to read this declaration to like say that I am willing to pay the price, and they charge you for this declaration as well. When Speth turns 15, she decides not to say the declaration, doesn't say a word throughout this book. It's insane. She goes mute. I've read 2 mute books. Mute rep. She decides to make a stand and not to say a word, so she can't be charged for them. If she does speak without saying the declaration as her first words when paying for them, she can basically be killed. Kind of a revolution, you know, like the typical girl rebels and everyone stands behind her, and the owner of the whatever world you're in is kind of like, oh dear, you're bad and we want to kill you. Yeah, it's one of those stories, but it was really good and I can't wait for the next book. I need to get it if it's already out. I don't know. I'm a bit confused as to whether the next book is out but I'm definitely gonna get it. Next on my list is the second book in the John Green-a-thon, which is another readathon I'm taking part in, but this isn't like an actual like read as many books as you can in a certain amount of time. This is every 2 months we are reading a John Green novel, and this month's book was More Grayson by John Green and David Levithan, and I DNF'd it. This is a reread and I DNF'd it. I don't know if you can DNF a reread, but I did. I'm pretty sure the first time I read this book I rated it like 3.5-ish stars, and I DNF'd it. I'm also going to be taking part in Shakira's live show, which is next Wednesday or Thursday, I think. The next book I read was Hunted by Megan Spooner. This was on my immediate TBR last year, and then again on my immediate TBR this year because I really wanted to get around to it, and I finally have, and I really liked. So this book is about a girl named, what's her name? I can't remember her actual name. Eva. Or Eva. Eva? I'm going to say Eva because it has a Y in it. So this book is about a girl named Eva. It's basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Can we just leave it at that? Like, they're all the same, but this one's actually very unique. I really like this one. You also get the Beast's point of view as well. She's a huntress and it's great. Definitely recommend. I gave this one a 4-star out of 5 as well. I had a lot of 4-star reads this month, and I'm very happy I did last month, not this month. It was a really good read. Let's just leave it at that. I'm just trying to rush through these now because I'm only about halfway through. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 10 things you need to know. I'm 10 books in. I have about 5 books in. And now we're getting into the Zodiac-a-thon. I forgot to mention that Hunted was the first book I read, and that was my 5-star prediction. Didn't get 5 stars, got 4 stars. So the next book is Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. This is raved about so much on BookTube, and I see why. I really enjoyed it. I have no idea what's going on. All I know is it's in this alien world where everyone lives on different planets and they're different species, and this girl and this guy are from separate species and have a baby together, and everyone's frowning upon it, and now they're on the run. And it stopped halfway through a plot, and I need to get the second one. That's all I'm gonna say. A 4-star as well, apparently. See? 4-star reads all around. And then the next book I read was Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Jomny Sun. And again, this is another graphic novel. This one's really cute and very easy to read. I read it in about 5 minutes. It was very cute. And this is about an alien named Jomny who comes down to inspect humanums. And he can't spell, and he's inspecting all of these animals, and it has so much self-love and self-worth in it, and it's basically telling you to love yourself no matter what, and it's so super freaking cute, and I rated it 5 stars. No regrets for that one. The next read, and probably my favourite read of the month, was The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James. I loved this book so much. So this book is set in a post-apocalyptic dystopian world where a virus goes around and suddenly no one can reproduce. No one can get pregnant, no one can have a child, no one can... That's it. We can't reproduce. Every few years there is a new batch of stored eggs and sperm that get like migrated together and make a baby in an artificial womb. You know what I'm talking about? 10, 15, 20 years, just when humans are about to go extinct, they use these eggs. And then at this point in the book, at the beginning of the book, they are at the point where there's only 2 humans left. We've got Lori and Shen, and they are basically the last humans, and they're still trying to find a cure, and it's following them. They're only teenagers and they've got the end of the world on their hands. How horrible is that? All of their parents, everyone they know, are all old, like 40 plus, and they know at some point they're gonna die and they're gonna be the only 2 left, and it's so heartbreaking and so loving, and I love this book so much. I wish there was a sequel, but there doesn't need to be. It's all wrapped up very well. I just love it. Great. And it got 5 stars. Well, it got a 4.75. And I think Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too actually got like a 4.5. But on Goodreads, they both got 5s, and this has made my favourite. It was amazing. And then the last book I read was Nowhere on Earth by Nick Lake. This is about a girl and her little brother who are in a plane crash, and they survive this plane crash. Them and the driver are the only people that survive, and they are basically on the run. She ran away from home, took her little brother with her, and she's trying to protect him, and that's all I can tell you because I'm not allowed to tell you anything more because everything is a freaking spoiler in this book. So we're gonna leave it at that. And I gave this book a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I love how my books just gradually get darker as I've read them. Just look at that, they just get darker as it goes up. But these are all of the books that I read in March. I had a very good reading month. Everything was really good. The only one I didn't like was Will Grayson, Will Grayson, and the rest were like 3.5 and up. They were all amazing and I love them all. I'm gonna put it down because it's flipping heavy. And I've been filming for 21 minutes. Let's hope I can edit this down. If you enjoyed this wrap up, then please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post a new booktube video like this every single Thursday and a new weekly reading vlog on my vlogging channel, which is in the description, every single Monday. Next week should be a haul because I have a lot of books to haul. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I will see you next week for another video which should be my haul.